Okay, guys, the watch list video. This thing doesn't seem like it's working. Okay, it's working. For Wednesday, February 24th. I got to tell you, if you're new to the chat room, today was weird. I didn't really call anything the whole morning. I saw the market gapping down, but I saw a lot of stocks gapping down, and um, I got on the mic before the market opened and basically told everybody, hey, there's a lot of new people in this market who've never really seen their stocks sell off, right? Um, and I said, so the sell-off might be worse than we think. Things might go down farther than we think. I said, but also at the same time, um, usually there's a decent bounce on the first sell-off. That the first sell-off in a while, because people start to give up, and then you get a nice bounce. And there were some massive bounces today. So I really kind of dropped the ball as far as not watching for some clean turns, and calling them out in the room. I was erring on the side of caution, but man, there were some beautiful. I'll show you a couple here. Tesla's a good example. Let's go to 5-minute candle. I mean, look at that. Look how clean that looks. An initial sell-off, just straight down, and then it curved right back up and ripped to new highs. I want to say did that. Look at that sell-off. It had a nice little 5-minute buy setup. I did point out TPGY in the chat room as a shape play when it looked like this. But I didn't really call any official trades till the morning was over. And in case I've ever given the impression that I never screw up, or I'm the most solid trader in the world, and nobody else knows what they're doing like me. Certainly, I don't think I've ever given that impression. But I don't talk a lot about my blunders, so I'm actually going to highlight one here because I called Home Depot, on a 5-minute buy setup, basically back through 260, which was right there, right? I mean, look how clean that looked. You had this big sell-off. You had this 5-minute candle, and then an inside 5-minute candle, and I loved it over 260, right? But not just because of that initial sell-off. Look at the daily. Look how, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Look how this 260 area, it came close here, it pierced it here, but I mean, that to come that far intraday, and then I really wanted to grab some below 260, but I was trying to use candlesticks for my entry. So I took it back up through 260, as I showed you, as I called in chat, right? And it looks like a genius call. Sure, it breaks 260 and then ends up going up fairly quickly, maybe over the next 45 minutes, $6 or $7, and ends up going up more than that by the end of the day. I'm going to bring this over to show you what a genius trader I am. I lost $1,062 on that, even though I took the call that I made. And I'll tell you why. It's because I'm not used to trading stocks that are $260 a share, right? So I'm not used to giving something $2 or $3 wiggle room, and I don't mind doing that, but I normally wouldn't take 1,000 shares if I'm going to give it $2. My personality won't allow me to lose 2,000 on a trade and still smile, right? So I'm very defensive. So I should have just taken a few hundred shares. It would have been a nice little trade, right? Then I wouldn't have had to worry about it. Hard stop at the low of the day and just let it happen or not happen. But because I took 1,000, it ended up coming back down somewhere in here, about $1. Came down to 260.29. So somewhere in there, somehow I lost that over $1,000 on it because I had to hit out. It might have been on this flush. I'm not sure. I think it didn't hit 260 there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I basically was trying to catch the bottom and got whipped out for a little over $1, I want to say, or maybe I had 1,300 shares. I don't know. My point is, I made a good call. It looks like a good call, and I still lost over $1,000 on it. So I ended up green on the day, but I'm not very proud of a lot of that I've done. I did, just to show you a couple gains. I did do okay in AMC. I made a call in chat on that one. I did trade OSK on a pullback, had a nice trade in that one, but still left a ton on the table in that one. Ended up with a decent day, but again, I'm green on the day, but I feel like a schmuck from everything I did wrong. So, I just want everybody to know that that's how trading is. You're never going to have the perfect day, but today I actually feel like I probably deserved to be red. And I feel like I let the chat room members down by not trying to call some of those reversals early, right? There's some of them that I showed you. There were some amazing reversals. Maybe I'll be better prepared next time, but let's go back to the SPY and talk about one highlight. One other highlight I wanted to talk about today was SLDB. This was probably the best call I made all day, and I called it over 820. So it was really strong, and then kind of flagging. It came up, hit 820. Whoops. Now, had a seller at 820 and the earlier high was 825, it was extended. It had already come a long way, but it had impressive relative strength compared to the market and almost everything else. So I called it long over 820, and look what it did. I mean, it ended up going to almost 10, and got a lot of thank yous for that one. I had a decent trade in that one as well. But it's one of the few decent things I did today. And speaking of which, so what am I watching for tomorrow? This is one of them, SLDB, just because it's so strong. It's certainly extended, but with that kind of relative strength, we're going to watch it. OSK, I mean, had really big news. Again, I don't know anything about the impact on the company overall, but they got a contract with the U.S. Postal Service, and this thing just ripped. And by the way, I was looking for a pullback play near the end of the day too, and I love this, like a 108 flush right after it took out the 20-day, you know, that 15's buy zone we talk about. But there was only like 5 minutes left in the day, so I didn't do it. And then I watch it climb in after hours. Had I grabbed that, it climbed in after hours up over these highs. It went almost to 130. So I don't know. I sometimes feel like I need to expand my way of thinking, and you know, I didn't expect it to come back down that far, but I certainly wasn't going to take a pullback play with 5 minutes left in the session. Something like that, certainly worth watching in after hours, though, which I didn't do, but it had a huge run in after hours too. Back to the daily, though. We're certainly going to watch that tomorrow with that big news. And by the way, that news did this to Workhorse. That actually happened. It halted a few times on the way down too. I'll show you 5-minute candles. Because I guess Workhorse was the company that was expected to get that contract with the Postal Service, and it didn't happen, and that thing just got decimated. So OSK goes on watch tomorrow for a continuation. And that one, I believe THCB is tied in with that news as well. Let's see, after hours, that one's trading at 22 something right now. So that one, that's an interesting candle. And by the way, I love this pullback play. Look at this. Whole number flush, 20, right around the 520, but there wasn't enough time left. I love that. I would if there was an hour left, I would have been bidding with size under 20. But there was, again, 5 minutes left, so I didn't do anything with it, and ended up climbing more in after hours too. So anyway, SLDB, OSK, THCB, all on watch for tomorrow. I don't have a very big list because there's a lot of weird looking charts right now because of those nasty sell-offs and then reversals. And keep in mind, I'm only looking for things that could give me a trade tomorrow. I'm not an investor. I don't hold overnight. So I have to find stuff that's really interesting for tomorrow. SVRA, nice volume and a pretty strong candle there. TRVG will go on watch. Had this pop yesterday and an inside day today amongst that crazy tape. So I do like this over today's high tomorrow. We'll see. SKLZ was on bounce watch, gap down, sold off, and then reversed, kind of like Tesla and the others. I never did find a trade in it. I should have been watching that early sell-off and everything that was on my bounce list. So, but it goes back on watch tomorrow for potential long to continue the bounce from today. TMST, steel play. Great relative strength to the market today, so we're going to watch that one. Tusk, I think, is an energy, oil and gas play. Topped out just above 7 about a week ago and is curling right back up. I like the looks of that chart. A couple more BT. I wanted to throw one Bitcoin stock that's kind of beaten up now for bounce watch. And then lastly, XL. Another red day, never broke its early high, but a little bit of a bottoming tail. So that one also goes on bounce watch. Again, weird day. I'm going to really be focused and try to trade better and find some good setups tomorrow because I'm a little bit peeved at my own self. I'm done battling. We'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow.